Thank the witnesses for appearing here today. Mr. Juhl and Mr. Patel, your companies and your clients, you as an individual company, are both sit on the steering committee for GARM, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And with the steering committee, there's been a number of standards that have been developed by GARM. And Mr. Patel, you mentioned your company, Unilever, has developed its own set of standards. Have you adopted the standards of GARM as part of your standards as well, in advertisement placement?
Well, firstly, Unilever created its own standards in 2018, and then there was an industry need to create some standardization, which is what GARM was born for in 2019.
My question was, though, did your company adopt those GARM standards from 2019?
We adopt the GARM standards.
Okay. And Mr. Juhl, how many of your clients have adopted the GARM standards?
GARM exists to create the framework and the definitions that we've used.
So this is, we get that. I've read your statement. How many of your companies? Yeah. How many companies do you represent?
We represent thousands.
And how many of those companies have accepted and adopted the GARM standards?
I couldn't give you an exact number, but I would tell you most of our major advertisers use GARM as a foundation, and then we build upon that for whatever their custom preferences are for whatever their particular suitability might be.
Okay. And do you, as part of the steering committee, do you have regular discussions with GARM and its leadership, of which you're a part, regarding placement of advertisements?
I do not meet with
standards.
them. I do not meet with GARM on a regular basis. I've actually never met with them.
Your company?
The company would, yes.
Okay. Mr. Patel?
The company would meet, but we 100% decide where our marketing investment goes. That's Unilever's decision.
So Mr. Rakowitz, who works for GARM, he's kind of the face of GARM in some respects. Have you, either of you or your company, dealt with Mr. Rakowitz in communicating about advertisement placement and subject matter?
I haven't met Mr. Reckerswood, but we have a member that sits on the steercom.
Yes. Okay. So let's get to that for a second. In 2020, Rob Master, Vice President of Media and Digital Engagement at Unilever, sent an email to Facebook about a presidential ad, and he was concerned about it violating the Facebook policies. Are you familiar with that situation, Mr. Patel?
I wasn't part of the communication, but I have seen the communication that you're referring to, and I think what I interpret from it, he was checking what was Facebook's policy on it.
I find it interesting that the way you couched that, you were checking what Facebook's policy was. Weren't you really, your staff, really checking to see if it was consistent with your own policy, I would assume, right?
No, sir, we don't decide on what media content goes up or goes down. That's up for the media platforms to decide.
But when you're looking for ad safety placement, you're not concerned then whether that was consistent with Facebook's policy? You're just basically inquiring with Facebook's policy, not concerned with your own policy of placement?
What we do is we decide all our marketing investment. We'll decide on target audiences where we want our brands to appear.
So why were you inquiring whether that was a violation of Facebook's policy?
So I'm not clear on why Rob Masters sent that communication, but as I said, we decide where we want to put our ads with whichever social media.
Of course, I appreciate that you decide where you place your ads. The question, though, is why are you then going to Facebook and saying, does this ad meet your criterion? Because that indicates you're trying to influence Facebook, because in reality, your position is we're going to place it wherever we think is best. But there's an ad over here, a specific ad that you're asking, does that meet your policy? That seems to intimidate. That seems to imply that you want to question their policy. what their platform is doing before you bother to place your ad. But you didn't do it that way. You just wanted to know whether it met their policy. You didn't say, we're not going to do it because we don't like it. That indicates you're interfering in YouTube's policy decision.